Alright guys, welcome back to the Gorbison Ramsley Gym Leader Invitational. We finally made it to the bracket stage, but first, I apologize about the wait in between the videos. There was a problem with the editing software that I use that made me lose every single one of my templates. So, the victory screen, the video screen, everything was lost, and that murdered my motivation to make more. But I sludged through it. We're back. Everything you see from here on out is another fresh asset that I made, other than the Pokemon images. So once again, I just ask you be kind. I'm a one-man show. I do everything. I do the graphic design. I do the editing. I did everything. So just be kind, and thank you for staying tuned in to the Gorbison Ramsley Gym Leader Invitational. Now I'm going to throw it over to me to talk about our first winners round match.
Alright, thanks, me. And as we're looking at the first round of the winners bracket here, this next match will be a battle of the brothers. The two brothers, Dew and 3nding, have varying degrees of expertise, with Dew being the most knowledgeable combatant in the whole tournament, and it's showing with an undefeated record, contrasting to 3nding's run, which showed a bit of his inexperience. Now, while I believe that Dew has the overwhelming advantage here, 3nding could make a sneaky run to have an upset victory if he plays his cards right. Now let's take a quick deep dive into each of their teams to see what we're dealing with here. Alright, so we'll start with 3nding's B-Sharp here. Now I think so far this has been 3nding's most misused Pokemon. I think there have been plenty of scenarios in the tournament already where just switching to B-Sharp with a quick Sucker Punch would have netted 3nding a few more KOs. The only thing B-Sharp has to really watch out for in this matchup is Dew's use of Flamethrower on a fair few of his Pokemon. Next up is his Crawdaunt, which is my favorite Pokemon on his team. While not a very common Pokemon to see in competitive play, he has been able to do some damage with a Stab and Banded Crabhammer. But I'd watch out for that Ice Beam in this coming matchup, as it may be able to sneak in a few cheeky KOs. Now we have the big cheese of 3nding's team, Guzzlord. This is the only dragon on 3nding's team, which may prove to make it less than ideal. With his slow speed, most of Dew's Pokemon will outspeed and be able to OHKO it. So Guzzlord's use is going to be fully dependent on a smart switch-in. And now the should-be ace of 3nding's team, Obstagoon. I said at the start of this event that this set knocked my socks off. And while its use has been underwhelming, I'm crossing my fingers that 3nding can maximize the pure power output of Stab, Guts, Facade to see him through. I think if he just trusted Obstagoon a little more to deal damage, he'd be in a better spot. But next, we have the speedy revenge killer, Weavile. And while being able to sneak in some quick and dirty damage, I don't think we've seen the full breadth of what this mon can do. If 3nding was a little more confident in his game, I think we'd have seen a lot more Weavile, as with his speed and ice-type moves, we may see him do a lot of damage this go around. And then finally, what has so far been the ace of this team, Zarude. Zarude has been 3nding's saving grace this tournament. His bulk and sustainability has allowed 3nding to have a lot of time to think about moves, and his play surrounding Zarude has been stellar. So hopefully with Zarude in the back pocket, it'll allow 3nding to have a little more faith in the rest of his mons. Overall, I still think 3nding's team can be a dark horse in this tournament. With just a little more confidence in his own play, he could definitely steal an upset win in any of his following games. But the Pokemon to watch out for this match is gonna be that Weavile. The speed and the ice type advantage over the dragon types should carry him pretty far in dealing some damage and getting some quick KOs. Now let's mosey on over to Dew's dragon team. Firstly, with Dragapult. This thing is fast. It has one of the cooler typings out there, and it's built to kill. Throughout the bracket stage, as the competition heats up, we'll probably see Dew use a lot more variety in his play, so I fully expect this Pokemon to get a lot more of a starring role in his victories. Duraludon is another that we haven't seen much of and has another great typing. We'll probably see this mon dish out a lot more paralysis as the event goes on, more so than KOs, but watch out for that Draco Meteor. It'll hit hard. Next, we have the undisputed strongest Pokemon of the tournament. Not much has even phased this Pokemon, with competitors needing to plan a whole counter strategy to even come close to killing it. It's pretty much game over every time this Pokemon gets sent out, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Next is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Garchomp. While he slipped up and down the tier list recently, this Pokemon remains consistent in the singles format with a bevy of moves in his arsenal. Once that Swords Dance hits, it'll be a struggle for any Pokemon to survive one of its vicious earthquakes. The most underutilized Mon on Deuce team, we have Goodra, a defensive specialist with its Assault Vest and HP investment. This Mon pretty much just comes out, goos up Deuce opponents, and goes quickly into the night. And honestly, that's really all it has to do with the amount of firepower backing it up. Then we have the surprise breakout star of Deuce team, Hydreigon. It's gotten a lot of screen time as well as a lot of damage racked up, and I think we'll continue to see that with its subplot flamethrower set. All in all, Dew is still the heavy favorite to win this match as well as the event, and his dominance shows no sign of slowing down. The Pokemon I'm going to highlight is going to be Hydreigon. I know it should be Eternatus considering it's basically a win button, but I'm excited to see how Hydreigon will be utilized with its subplot flamethrower set. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the first match of Winners Round 1.
Alright, and here we have Dew versus Ending, the battle of the brothers. We start out with Goodra and Crawdon. Crawdon getting a quick crab hammer in there to drop down Goodra down to 28%, but Gooey reducing that speed. Dragon Tail's going to end up pulling out Zarude. Darkness Lair is going to finish off Goodra, Ending drawing first blood against the top seed of the tournament. Hydreigon coming out in response with the flamethrower. That's going to be a great decision. Oh, but doesn't kill Zarude. Zarude kind of bulky. Oh, the bulk up might be the end here for Ending's Zarude. They second flamethrower coming out quickly to finish it off. And then we have Crawdon coming back on. That's a great choice. The Dark Pulse isn't going to do a lot of damage to Crawdon. And the Ice Beam, not doing a whole lot. Oh, but the Frozen Condition coming out into play. The leftovers bringing Cerberus back up to over middle percent. A second Ice Beam bringing out just not enough. Really praying for a thaw for Dew here. Oh, yep, Cerberus thaws. That's going to let him finish off the Crawdon, but Cerberus is on his last leg here. What will Ending bring out in response? Bring out the Weavile. Great matchup. Good speed against the slower Hydreigon. Oh, but another miss from Ending. This guy is getting reverse hacked like it's his day job. Just missing so many moves. It's just so unfortunate on his part. Brings out the Ice will crash against Cerberus. Wonder what would happen if Weavile was at full HP. This might be a different ball game here. Dragon Dart's going to come out and very quickly take care of Weavile. Brings out the Obstagoon. We might finally be able to see that Gut set. I'm excited. See, Knockoff proving to super effectively break that Substitute. The burn coming out, so his attacks are going to be a little more effective now. Oop, here comes the Dragon Darts. Dealing a lot of damage to Obstagoon, but the Knockoff does end up KOing Dragapult. The advantage still in Dew's favor by a wide margin. Obstagoon on also his last leg. Brings out the Big Boat Incentive Garchomp. Earthquake coming out to deal with the Obstagoon. Next is the Guzzlord versus Garchomp. Let's see what Guzzlord can bring out here. The Tox, that's a pretty good move as long as Guzzlord can stay alive. Does the second Swords Dance, bringing that up to a terrifying 3 times attack. Oh, but the Dragon Claw coming out. That Toxic all of a sudden looking pretty scary. Ruskin does come into effect, but that leftovers is going to make that mostly negligible. Brings out the Protect. Great choice. We'll get a little more toxic damage and might kill it, actually. Oh, hanging out with 4%. Oh, but the 1 and 3 double Protect comes out, ensuring that Garchomp goes down. This is probably going to bring out the Eternatus here. Nope, brings out the Duraludon, saving Eternatus for the end here. That Draco Meteor is going to make Guzzlord a thing of the past. And let's see what Ending can cook up here with the B-Sharp. Tries to Sucker Punch, but brings out the Thunder Wave instead, paralyzing B-Sharp. The Thunderbolt coming out and doing decent damage. Knockoff gonna do quite a bit, but not enough to KO. This is pretty in Dew's favor, unless Ending can just pull something out of his hat. That's gonna make this a one-man ball game. Ending really putting up a fight against the #1 seed of the tournament so far. Alrighty, and this is looking pretty done and dusted. Yep, there is the flamethrower, and that will make Dew the winner of Game 1 in the Battle of the Brothers. And we're back at it for Game 2 of the Battle of the Brothers here. I was really impressed with Ending's first showing. He really showed a lot of intelligence against a much more battle-hardened foe. Let's see what Game 2 brings. We have a different matchup to start. Zarude versus Duraludon. Oh, paralyzed for Zarude. I have to say that while I am impressed with Ending's play, he might be the unluckiest player of the tournament. It feels like everything that can go wrong for him misses. Procs of abilities are always what screw over Ending. But other than that, I've been very impressed with his play. Brings out the Crawdon. Actually predicts the Fire Blast. Very, very good read here. Oh, but the knockoff once again one-hit KOs the Goodra. But that'll end up slowing down the Crawdon. Not sure how much more he can do here. Against Duraludon, not going to be a lot. Yep, that Thunderbolt's going to hit for super effective and take care of the Crawdon. Brings back out Zarude. Pretty good thing to do. Does the bulk up. I don't know if Dew is going to let him get away with that. Ends up paralyzing him. Brings out Hydreigon for the flamethrower and another paralysis proc. That's absurd. Then we got Obstagoon. Might be our chance. Show me that facade set Ending, please. I want to see it. I want to see the damage that the thing can dish out. Flamethrower absolutely eviscerating Obstagoon. Does a resisted knockoff. I really think Facade probably would have killed there because it's boosted by both Guts and the Facade for being burned. Does the Obstruct just Scout, I assume? Flamethrower comes out dealing with the Obstagoon. Once again, favor very heavily in Dew's corner here. Brings out the Weavile. That Icicle Crash should deal with Hydreigon pretty easily. Yep, done and dusted. If Weavile can get some moves out, this might be a pretty even ball game. Switches for Guzzlord. The Flash Cannon actually comes out, but Guzzlord is significantly slower than Duraludon. So Duraludon will just get that Draco Meteor off and kill the Guzzlord pretty easily. B-Sharp coming out here. What's going to happen? We got some Garchomp action coming out. Sword Stance coming out of B-Sharp. That might... Oh, once again, the Sucker Punch failing for probably a Sword Stance of his own. That's scary on both parts. Sucker Punch almost KOing. Oh, Garchomp just a bit too bulky, and that Earthquake's going to deal with B-Sharp. This, once again, might be a different ball game if that Sucker Punch hits. Zarude coming back out. Paralyze, resist the Earthquake. Are we going to get some Darkest Lyric coming out instead of Jungle Healing? I guess that does kind of make sense. But will he be able to Jungle Heal off that paralysis? If so, oh, that's going to be a GG. Turned to so far just kind of being an instant win button for Dew. We'll see if Weavile can do anything here. Let's see what's... Icicle Crash almost KOing Eternatus. That really makes you think.
All right, and with a decisive 2-0 victory, the winner of the first annual Battle of the Brothers is Dew. Ending had a lot of good plays, but once again his inexperience just shone through, and Dew took advantage of that even though there was some scares here and there. Well, that's it for match 1 of the winners bracket. Stay tuned next time for the Battle of the Birds and the Bees. Thank you for watching.